realized this idea was not gonna go away and there really was something to this, I really started to lean in the idea of sharing my story and having others share their story with me to give caregivers a voice. That was very inspiring per se, but when it came time to actually do the podcast, the challenge was actually doing the podcast, because every time we had everything in place, everything ready to go, and as soon as I heard, okay, it's recording, go ahead and start when you're ready, my throat just closed up, and it was like suddenly I couldn't speak, and all these ideas that I had in my head, all these stories that I felt compelled to tell, just got choked up in my throat and wouldn't go anywhere. So we would stop recording, just put it all away and try again another day. And we did that for a couple of weeks and probably a couple of months, where I got so frustrated and I couldn't figure out what's happening. And that's when I started to actually pray on this and meditate with this idea of, okay, God, if I'm supposed to share my story, and if I'm supposed to connect with others to help them share their story and give them a voice, then why isn't my voice working? What's happening to me? Well, it was a couple more months after that it was the trial and error. Just get a few minutes out. Just try a little bit. And then maybe it was who I was talking to. But that didn't say much when it was just me doing the talking. And that's when I realized, okay, it's not just me doing the talking. There were parts of me that were trying to silence my own personal story, which is really bizarre when you think about it, because I didn't want to tell anybody how I felt. I didn't want anybody knowing, because it made me sound like I was crazy. And after growing up and our family telling Mom that she was crazy because we didn't understand dementia, I didn't want to be the one that everybody looked at as crazy. But the problem was there was this little girl deep down inside that had a very private, very personal story she did not want told. So every time the mic was turned on, the cameras were turned on eventually, my throat continued to close. So I had to go through some therapy and work on that. But in the process, I thought if the focus was not on me and it was on somebody else, then I could do this. And that's how it worked. I started to interview guests the intent was to answer my questions and help me understand things, but also if I had these questions, I knew other caregivers had them too. So I started to interview others to help get past that insecurity.